I'm packing my suitcase to head to Florida, and you know what Florida makes me think of? Coral reefs. Because without them, cities along the coast, places like the Florida Keys, would look very different.
Since coral reefs help protect the shorelines from the force of ocean waves, they act like a shield, absorbing up to 97% of wave energy before it hits the shore.
They serve as nature's bodyguards for coastal communities, helping prevent erosion and protecting homes and businesses along the coast.
So, I want to tell their story, breaking down everything you need to know about them.
Once upon a time, in the huge blue ocean, there was a tiny coral polyp floating through the currents, searching for a place to call home. Found a cozy rock, latched on, starting its life, and just like that, their incredible story begins. This little creature cloned itself again and again, forming a connected community of thousands of little polyps. Together they built a structure made out of calcium carbonate, the same hard stuff found in seashells. And over time, this structure became the foundation of a coral reef. So from one small polyp grew an entire underwater city.
Here's where things get a little wild though. Corals aren't rocks or plants. They're actually animals. They're closely related to jellyfish and sea anemones.
Each coral polyp is a soft-bodied animal that creates its own hard protective skeleton. As thousands of polyps connect and grow together, they create the massive coral colonies that make up reefs. It's teamwork at a microscopic level. You probably already know that 70% of our planet is covered by the ocean, right? But even though coral reefs only cover less than 1% of that space, they support a mind-blowing 25% of all marine life on Earth.
That's a quarter of the ocean species. Fish, crustaceans, mollusks, and everything else relying on reefs for food, shelter, and safety. In a world of water, coral reefs are the cities buzzing with life. Most coral thrive in warm tropical waters near the equator, like Florida, or the biggest of them, the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. But some reefs survive in colder, darker places, like even in parts of Alaska. Coral isn't a one-size-fits-all, it adapts to its environment in amazing ways. In fact, there are 4 main types of coral reefs, each one with its own look and purpose. There's fringing reefs, which hug the coastline. Barrier reefs sit further offshore, separated from land by a lagoon. Patch reefs, scattered in groups, small and isolated. And atolls, ring-shaped reefs that form around sunken volcanoes, often with a calm lagoon in the center. Each type offers a different habitat and supports different species.
Let's break this down a little bit more because coral, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. They come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes and tons of variety. But let's focus on the 3 most common ones that you'll find.
Hard coral, soft coral, and deep sea coral. So the hard corals are the reef builders. Just like any great structure, reefs need a solid foundation, and without hard coral, the reef as we know it wouldn't even exist. They give the reef their shape, structure, and the stability that they depend on. Think of them as the sturdy base that holds everything else together.
These creatures build reefs using their calcium carbonate skeletons, stacking layer upon layer to form that sturdy reef structure. But hard corals, they're not working alone.
They've formed an incredible partnership with a tiny algae that lives inside their tissues. It's called a symbiotic relationship.
The algae are like personal chefs for the coral, using photosynthesis to capture sunlight and turn into food, which they then share with the coral. This is how the coral gets the energy they need to survive and grow. And in return, the coral gives the algae a safe home and plenty of nutrients to thrive.
But not all corals are stiff and stony. Soft corals bring flow and flexibility into the mix. They don't build reefs, but they're still a vital part of the ecosystem. Picture them as underwater trees or plants, swaying gently with the current. Instead of a hard skeleton, soft corals have a flexible core made of proteins, kind of like a trunk of a tree or stem of a plant, which gives them their stability and support.
They also have a bit more variety in how they survive. Some will have a symbiotic relationship with algae like hard corals, but others can survive without it, getting the nutrients they need directly from the water around them. This adaptability allows them to live in a wider range of environments. Now, far below the sunlit waters in the pitch black deep sea lives a hidden world, deep sea coral, also known as cold water coral. Living in some of the deepest parts of the ocean, far from where any sunlight can reach, they don't rely on photosynthesis to survive. Instead, they feed on tiny organisms drifting in the ocean currents. Deep sea corals can live as deep as 20,000 feet, surviving in freezing temperatures and total darkness. A recent discovery off the US Atlantic coast uncovered a never-before-seen deep-sea coral reef, reminding us just how much we've yet to explore.
These corals might be mysterious and less flashy, but they're crucial to deep sea ecosystems. And there's still so much that we don't know about this specific type of coral, since it's incredibly challenging to get down there to study them.
They're not just pretty to look at, they're life support systems.
They protect the coastlines by absorbing up to 97% of wave energy. They provide food and shelter for millions of species, and they also support coastal communities and global economies, easily bringing in well over $1 billion per year through tourism, diving, and eco activities.
They're saving lives, making money, and are biodiversity powerhouses. But coral reefs, they're in need of some serious help.
They're facing things like rising ocean temperatures, coral bleaching, ocean acidification, pollution and plastic waste, oil spills, destructive fishing practices like bottom trawling. I mean, the list just keeps going on, each one contributing to the very real and very scary decline of coral reefs worldwide. But the good news is we can protect them by reducing pollution, supporting reef-safe tourism, cutting back on plastic use, and raising awareness about the challenges that coral reefs face. We can slow the damage and even help reefs recover. Every action counts, no matter how small.
I should probably get going before I miss my flight. What began as one tiny polyp has become one of the most essential ecosystems on Earth. And now that you know their story, you're part of it too. And if you're wondering what I'm going to Florida for, I guess you're just gonna have to subscribe so you can watch the next video, because I can guarantee you, it's not what you expect.